There is one thing we learned from Churchill's experience fighting Chamberlain's policy, is the fact you cannot appease pure evil. So he knew you cannot negotiate with Hitler. We know we cannot negotiate with Hamas. It means we need to have a better future for the Palestinians. And in order to achieve that, you need to do what you did.
Is there still a chance for a two-state solution?
I think it's about time for the world to realize the Oslo paradigm failed on the 7th of October, and we need to build a new one. And in order to build a new one...
Does that new one include the Palestinians living in a state of their own? Is that what it includes?
I think the biggest question is what type of Palestinians are on the other side. This is what Israel realized
do they have
on the 7th
a state,
of October.
though?
The answer is absolutely no, and I'll tell you why.
Well, then
because
how can
at
there
the
be
moment,
peace?
no, I'll answer to you. The reason there is no peace
Israel
is because the Palestinians...
How can, without offering
Mark,
a state to Palestine, how can there be peace in Israel?
Israel knows.
So let me tell you this, okay? If someone is saying something that you do not believe it, if someone is saying something that you honestly think they are lying to you, do not worry. Just let them keep talking. It's just a matter of time before they reveal their real self. It's just a matter of time before they show you who they really are. And the reason I am saying all this is because when you hear the Israeli authority talk, when you see mostly those Israeli hardliners talk, those fundamentalists, they will tell you that they have always wanted a two-state, or at least the people of Palestine to have their own state. That is what they have always wanted. That was why they all went for all the peace accord, and the latest one being the Oslo Accord. That according to them, Arafat walked out at the end of the day without any counter proposal. That is what they will tell you. That is what they will let you know. But I want you to watch this video. This was an interview by the Israeli ambassador to the United Kingdom. And I want you to listen carefully to what she was saying here and tell me if this should be the talking points from someone who wanted a two-state solution, from someone whose government had any intention of letting the Palestinians have their own state. And even before we get to that, let me just put this out there. If Israel has ever wanted Palestinians to have their own state, they won't keep on building illegal settlements in the West Bank. Okay? If Israel has ever wanted a two-state solution with Palestinians, they would have tried their best to strengthen the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank, not make them ineffective. But let's watch the video.
Western countries that everyone loves to.
But I don't quite know what you mean. Education in Gaza. Who are you going to educate?
I think part at the moment under the UN name, the UNRWA schools are becoming terror schools.
So you're talking about re-educating the population.
If you have the UN involvement, then forget about refugee camps. Why should they be refugees after 70 years of having independent life? They could have built their own life, but they didn't.
But re-education is a kind of, you think of China, and you think of...
Absolutely not. This is what you did.
Camps
this is what you did in Nazi Germany. This is what the
Muslim
British
Uyghurs and so forth.
You're not learning from your own history. In this residence that you came to, there is a Churchill painting. There is one thing we learned from Churchill's experience fighting Chamberlain's policy, is the fact you cannot appease pure evil. So he knew you cannot negotiate with Hitler. We know we cannot negotiate with Hamas. It means we need to have a better future for the Palestinians. And in order to achieve that, you need to do what you did.
Is there still a chance for a two-state solution?
I think it's about time for the world to realize the Oslo paradigm failed on the 7th of October, and we need to build a new one. And in order to build a new one...
Does that new one include the Palestinians living in a state of their own? Is that what it includes?
I think the biggest question is what type of Palestinians are on the other side. This is what Israel realized.
Do they have a
7th of
state,
October.
though?
The answer is absolutely no, and I'll tell you why.
Well, then
because
how can
at
there
the
be
moment,
peace?
no,
How can there be
I'll
peace
answer you.
in
The reason there is no peace
Israel
is because the
How
Palestinians.
can, without offering
Mark,
a state to Palestine, how
Mark,
can there be peace in
Israel knows today, and the world should know now, the reason the Oslo Accords failed is because the Palestinians never wanted to have a state next to Israel. They want to have a state from the river to the sea.
So the two-state solution is dead?
Why are you obsessed with a formula that never worked, that created this radical people in the other side? Why are you obsessed with that? Think about it. Is that normal to carry on with a solution that never worked in the past?
Okay.
The Palestinians kept on denying, and now it will create another terror state. Israel is not interested with
Final
that.
question.
I love it when you challenge the Israelis' defense forces or maybe their authorities for doing something that is wrong. And then they just spring this moral comparison on us all and then try to educate us about morality or who is better than who. I honestly do not think that this is a matter of who is better than who. It's a matter of humanity. Like I have said this before on this particular channel, that it doesn't matter whether or not if Mr. A was more grotesque than Mr. B in carrying out his attacks on civilians. What matters is how Mr. B wants to be perceived or looked upon when carrying out their own attacks. This whole comparison thing is just getting frustrated by the day, because everyone can clearly see what Israel is doing in Gaza. Now they are talking about flood. In fact, not even talking, they've started pumping sea waters into the tunnels in Gaza. And I know they want to flush out Hamas. And I sometimes will honestly empathize with them because I understand the severity of the situation. I understand why they might thought that this was a necessary method to take. But have they also considered it or thought to themselves how destructive this whole method might be? Have they thought to themselves that, let's be fact here, the 1,200 people that Hamas killed are dead? That outcome we cannot change. That is an outcome that has long passed. But what we do now, what we keep on doing, can be altered, can be changed in a particular way or format. That rather of flooding these tunnels, that might be very devastating for future generations in Gaza, we might look for another method in handling this crisis or this situation or rooting out Hamas. We might exploit other options. That also might be something they might want to consider. But as for Israel, forget it. They just want the easy way out. That was the same thing, rather for them sending ground troops into Gaza to fight Hamas. They rather bomb Gaza from the sky. That was way more easier for them than sending in ground troops into Gaza. That is it. And like she mentioned, we won't give it back to Hamas because we don't believe Hamas can handle things in Gaza. And as far as the PLO is concerned, we do not trust they can handle things because they have proven themselves to be very irresponsible as far as managing the Palestinians is concerned. So when they said this, you have to think, like, what is going on in their mind. According to them, the two-state solution is as good as death. But you guys out there, let me hear your take on what the Israeli ambassador to the United Kingdom said in this interview. Do you or have you ever believed that Israel had ever, wholeheartedly and honestly wanted a state for the Palestinians? Or rather, they have just said it but never meant it? Do you think that the Oslo Accord that we are being told that Yasser Arafat walked out at the end of the day was simply just that? Or maybe something went on that provoked him into walking out and we are not being told? Share that thought and opinion with us in the comment section below, because like always, we love hearing what you have to say. Please kindly like this video, subscribe to this channel, because somehow that helps a lot with the algorithm, and we shall forever be grateful to you. So thank you, and see you in the next one.